Are we on live?
We are live.
Okay, excellent. Welcome to the regular meeting of Helotes City Council. It's September 14th, 2023. The time is 7 p.m. At this point, we'll have Council Member Sones lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Please rise.
Please join me in prayer. Dear Lord, we just thank you so much for our freedoms, that we can come together in a public hearing and praise your name. And Lord, I thank you for all the freedoms that we enjoy here in Helotes. We thank you for our first responders that selflessly serve our city every day. Lord, especially this week after we remember 9/11 and all the lives lost so many years ago. Lord, tonight I'd ask that you would give us wisdom, have good discussion, think of all the different issues that are on the agenda tonight. Lord, I thank you for all of the citizens and staff members that are in attendance tonight, and I thank you for their participation in our city. So Lord, we thank you again for our freedoms. We praise your name, and we pray this in the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. At this point, we will be on number 2, we'll be opening the public hearing to give all interested persons the right to appear and be heard on the proposed tax year 2023 ad valorem tax rate. Time is 7:02. We have anybody signed up to
No, Mr.
speak?
Not for number 2.
Anybody have anything to say on the public hearing? No? Okay. We will close the public hearing also at 7:02. This time, we are going to open the public hearing to give all interested persons the right to appear and be heard on the proposed fiscal year 2024 City of Helotes operating budget as listed in item number 3. The time is 7:03. Do we have anybody who would like to speak at the public hearing on this item? Anybody signed up either? Okay. In that matter, we will close this public hearing also at 7:03. And finally, for public hearings, at this time, we'll open the public hearing to give all interested persons the right to appear and be heard on the proposed fiscal year 2024 City of Helotes Economic Development Corporation's operating budget as listed in item 4, and we'll open this hearing at 7:04. Do we have any interested parties wishing to speak at this public hearing? No? Anybody signed up?
Someone did.
Yes.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
Just joking, Glenn.
It's a little internal joke. In that case, we'll close the public hearing at 7:04. This time we'll open citizens to be heard. At this point, you have an opportunity to speak. You have 3 minutes to share what's on your mind. We have one person signed up. Kirk Harrison from Frontier Waste Solutions. If you want to come up, state your name for the record. And
Kirk Harrison with Frontier Waste, honorable mayor and council persons. I appreciate you giving me a little time to speak. Unfortunately for you, I saw in your executive session, you had waste written, and I kind of track all the publications that are out there for cities. And when I see waste, then you're going to get a lot like me. I've been in the business 28 years. I've been here 24 years. We're always interested if a city ever makes a change or anything comes up, of course, for bids. We do a lot of bids and all. We're very interested in coming in and doing it. I don't know if you know a lot about our company. I know way back when y'all did your bid, we were one of the parties that participated. We have units all the way from Dallas all the way down to Poteet and all units in between. My area is Austin and San Antonio. So I try to cover, even though there's a lot of meetings on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I try to cover certain meetings on certain days. I had the city secretary really helped me out and put one of my cards, I think, before most of you. And if you have any questions or any inquiries or anything like that about trash, I pretty much did it all. I ran landfills, I ran companies, I worked for waste management for a long time. And I'm working for Frontier now. It's a good company and I enjoy the way they handle things. It's one of the few companies I know. And just a quick comment, when it comes to input from the upper regions of our management, if you call in as a citizen on a weekend or after hours, the CEO of our company gets that message. And then he'll send down the email to whatever unit is responsible for that. And I don't have to explain to you how important the CEO email comes to you, how you're going to jump through hoops to make sure it happens. So that impressed me so much. And that was one of the things that guided me to, join this company, because I'm real service oriented. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time. And I appreciate hey, Frank. I've been knowing Frank a long time. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you, sir. We have nobody signed up online, so this time we'll close citizens to be heard. This time, looking for a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items number 6 through 9 is written. Unless there's something that somebody wants to pull.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve consent agenda items 6 through 9.
No, second.
Motion by Sanders, second by Merchant. With no discussion needed, all in favor of approving consent agenda items number 6 through 9 is written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. At this point, we have the mayor's report. We have been seeing a lot of activity, thankfully, in the TxDOT construction project on Bandera Road. We got a right-hand turn lane by Bill Miller's recovered, reclaimed, as it were. And we're happy to have Chief Moreland on our conference calls with them, at least bi-weekly, and other special meetings that's been directed. And our latest and greatest information is that we are about 52% complete. And the expected days remaining puts us at about May 9th. Is that correct? May 9th. Again, as we stated before, we had a couple months setback due to some limestone under that very intersection. And then, of course, a water main break. But at this point, we're looking to be on that May 9th completion. Our pet wellness and vaccination clinic was postponed to Sunday, September 24th. It will be here at City Hall complex from 1 to 4 p.m. And finally, YOLO. The episode that we originally had was a fantastic, what do I want to call that, exposition of our community, and got a lot of viewership. So Chamber of Commerce got together and we did another episode. I did an interview with them. They interviewed other areas of our city, and that will be airing October 7th and 8th. Yes, October 7th and 8th. So be on the lookout for a new episode. Go on to the next item. Item number 11 will be pulled just for clarity's sake. This is an opportunity for this item for them to be able to come back and make an appeal. They had a scheduled conflict, and we want to make sure that we give everybody every opportunity to be able to have their fair appearance. So we are pulling this item and will be rescheduled for a later date. This brings us to item number 12. We're looking for a motion and a second to discuss and take action on item number 12 as written.
Mr. Mayor, I move we discuss and take action on agenda item number 12.
Motion by Sanders, second by Cato. Sure. Take us away.
I actually don't have a whole lot to say. I'm really glad that the final design, the EDC folks, I think came up with a really good final design. As you guys recall, we retooled it a little bit. They got our feedback. They got some feedback from P&Z as well, and I think this really pops. I think it looks really, really good, and I'm personally happy with that. I think the final outcome for what we're trying to achieve here was met. Right, that sign needed to be replaced, and I think it's really going to catch people's eyes when they drive by. So that's all I got, Mayor.
I think it's a great sign, and they've made, like I said, some minor changes to it to make it look even better. So I'm for that.
We'll start this one.
I just appreciate them taking in consideration the Old Town businesses that provided the input, and this reflects that. So I'm supportive as well.
Nothing to add.
It's a very good design. I like it. I'm glad that they did heed the planning and zoning and city council's consultation, I guess you could say. And it would be really nice if we could know who the designer is so that we could help some of these other businesses who don't have very good designers for their signs.
All right, with no further discussion, all in favor of approving item number 12 is written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It's time looking for a motion and a second to discuss and take action on item number 13 as written. We'll cover items A and B in this individually. But for a motion for,
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we discuss, take action on item 13.
okay, motion by Merchant, second by
I'll say, go ahead.
Soames. All right. Sir.
So the P and Z had quite a robust conversation about this. They went back and forth, and they really got down to the nick of the item, you know, the meat, potatoes of it. So unless my colleagues have any other ideas, I'm in tune to believe and go in line with what P and Z said about this.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I believe we have local representatives.
Oh, good.
There is? Okay,
Sure.
And then we also have 2 national representatives from Chevron joining us via
Well, we should-
teleconference.
we
if
should do
Council
them.
has questions.
Okay, we'll have that for questions. I would point out as a matter of record that what was approved were most of the signs. We get down to the list. The front signs and the exit signs, all the signs were approved with the exception of over the bays. P and Z looked at just 1 oil change sign and 1 auto care sign as opposed to 1 over each bay. So that'd be 2 as opposed to 4 of the 10-foot by 1.5-foot signs. Let's go ahead and get some additional comment unless we have some specific questions that we can bring up the representatives. Councilmember Solomons, you have some additional opening comments?
No, not other than what Councilmember Merchant said, that P and Z had a long discussion about this. In fact, it was their longest agenda item. I don't know if Councilmember Cato can shed any light. He was actually at the meeting, but I see their reasoning, and Commissioner Blue did say that they have historically heard from chains that national franchises that it has to be this way, but yet he travels and sees other options. So I personally am in support of what PNC decided at their meeting.
Okay. So that's opening. Let's go ahead and call the representative up. Clearly what's in, and then we'll continue with council member input. When we're taking a look at it, if you want to scroll down to the actual pictures. I believe attachment B, there we go. So we have really on the blue there up one. There we go. So there was no problem at all for this Chevron Express Lube sign on one end of the building. Going down a page, really the only thing in question there is if you take a look over each bay door, the 2 on the left are, say, oil change. So you have 2 oil change bays and presumably 2 auto repair bays, appropriately named auto repair.
Yes, sir.
And so I understand that P and Z had recommended just 1 sign over, split between the 2 bays. So you have 1 sign for the 2 bays. You have any thoughts or concerns?
Yeah, one question is why? I would like to understand the reasoning. Why is that recommended?
Okay. So
Anybody has an
let me turn this over next, because you were at the meeting, if you want to share your comments and bring some information to that.
Well, I believe the P and Z felt like basically too many signs, but the location was more in line with the city of Helotes signs, although personally, I would have to disagree. I don't see a problem with the two signs.
Well, I just wanted to say that we've been in there. We were privileged to buy that property in 2004. I've been a resident in San Antonio in 1988. The council, the panel of Helotes is a lot more beautiful than San Antonio, actually. And I wanted to say we are a family business. We're not a franchise for Chevron. We are branded by Chevron. So basically that whatever is proposed has been implemented in more than 200 locations nationwide. So that's the only thing that we would like more visibility to attract more customers, because our livelihood really depends on this project. It's 3 families put together, and it's mostly self-financed. It's not because of special buildings, and stuff like that. It's very complicated to finance it. So we did it ourselves.
Sure.
So we would like to just follow the model that has already been established with 200 locations nationwide, and just continue and hopefully be successful providing the service for Helotes at the ETJ site.
We certainly understand, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Massey to start next. But I will say that one of the issues that comes up in building and signs with our ordinances is that there are many businesses or chains that have significant signage, and they do that all over the nation. But our sign ordinance has put limitations on numbers and size of signs at one location. And so that when you add up the number of your signs, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total. And it looks like they approved 7 of the 9. So it's not, I think or their recommendation, excuse me, was for the only change would be not really advertising. It's not your Chevron or your
It's
branding.
safety. Actually,
but-
the way it's explained to us, it is for customer safety. So basically, customers know exactly where to enter and for what purpose. So really, we are paying more money for signage, to add 2 extra ones. So we're not doing it out, for pleasure. We're doing it as to just implement the model that has been successful, proven to be successful in the past few years.
Certainly understand that. It does not appear to be, the signs in question do not appear to be advertisement signs, but rather directional signs. So with that in mind, let me turn over to Councilmember Massey for any comments.
Yes. I don't understand why you can't put one oil change sign between those 2 doors. I mean, the 2 big garage things, and right between them or right over them, people would then know that side's the oil change, and then the same thing with the other side. To me, this looks cluttered and redundant. I mean, people aren't that stupid. They would know that this side's the oil change and this side. And so
Ms. Massey, if you compare our signage in San Antonio and Helotes and Texas in general to other states, it is we have too many signs, for directions, and a lot of names, and bigger and smaller, and exit here. Other states don't have that. So it's not about, the customer being stupid. It's more about clarity, and it is based on a model that has been proven to work. And it's not on the street, so it is on the building itself. So I don't see, we are not able to see the conflict of interest for the city of Helotes. Sorry about that.
Let's go with Councilmember Sanders.
So, sir, I think another one of the issues, if I recall, one was our ordinances talk about, the number of signs. So for your business, the proposed signs, you were asking the city for variance. Generally, you only have a sign on the front and then on the pedestrian side. And so that's why the advertising business signs were immediately approved. But there's also a calculation, again, that the way our ordinances are written, it's about the actual space, allotted space, when you start counting up all the square footage of the signs. And that's where P and Z was going at, because you were asking for a variance, because you were asking for way too much space based on the dimensions of the building, and it's all a mathematical computation, right? Now, granted, the P and Z and council have the authority to grant, a certain percentage beyond the recommended spacing, right? When you count up all the signs. So what P and Z was trying to do was bring your signage more into compliance with the way the city administers its signage ordinances across not just the municipality, but the ETJ around it. So the intent is not to harm your business, but it's trying to balance that with, your customers know where to go. And I personally think one sign right in the middle over the bays clearly identifies where people go. I'm glad everybody believes in the other two signs that were about the safety piece of it, right? Like, do not go into this entrance and please wait for an attendant. So again, an attendant coming out is clearly going to make sure that their people are lined up to the right bay. So those were the reasons. And again, it all tied back to the ordinances. And as you probably know, the city of Helotes is very particular about signage. Because when you come into Helotes and in the ETJ, it feels different, and it's on purpose. So again, we're not trying to harm your business, and I understand where you're coming from. I do.
I mean, that's what I can say. It is based on a model that has been applied in 200 locations nationwide, and it's been working. So if it's working, why fix it? I mean, if the signage was saying instead of oil change, entrance, I mean, it's obvious that there's an attendant that's telling the vehicle to enter, but it still says entrance. I mean, that's also for safety. So I said all that I have.
Okay. Have any additional comments or questions?
So I do. At the picture we're looking at right here, what is the distance from that front of the building to like the drive that'll come in? Is there even a driveway there yet?
Yeah, there is a drive. I don't know the distance. I'm not the engineer.
I understand. It would like,
But it is, vehicles drive in.
so that's a good picture. Thank you.
The vehicles drive in through to the driveway, and then they go through the bay and
Right.
then exit from the side
So-
of the building. That's how it's designed.
Gotcha. It's actually a very functional design.
Thank you.
Can you go back to that picture, ma'am? Thank you. So one thing that I will add, and I know we're, as a city of Helotes, we're very particular about the signage and how this works. This happens to be in the ETJ. This also, the signs in question happen to be on the side of the building where literally you're not going to see them from the road unless you pull in there. So these are just fully functional directional signs. These are for the safety of the people pulling into your business and for the safety of your employees. And for that reason, as I reconsider this thing, I really don't have a problem with all these signs. And it might be even more beneficial to you to like put some arrows on the pavement as well. Cones, arrows, whatever.
We're trying to implement the model that has been proven to be functional.
Functional and
safe.
effective,
that's
sure.
all.
As long as the idea here is so nobody gets hurt. And really, nobody's gonna see these signs until you even pull in the building, so. I don't,
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, we do have Barb Nelson. She's actually with Chevron.
Okay,
Sure.
Council or you, Mayor, have any questions?
okay. Let's call her up.
sure.
Barb, can you hear us?
I can hear you fine. Thank you for having me this evening.
Certainly. Is there anything you would like to add to the
No,
conversation?
I appreciate the discussion and the consideration. As I believe Mayor was just pointing out, the signs are away from the main road there. They're not illuminated, and they're really for the purposes of ensuring that customers pull in. They know where to pull in. There's no backing up and, hitting another vehicle or anything, or having to, reposition their car to go through a different door. It's so that they're visible from as soon as they pull into the driveway. And then they know exactly where to go from that moment. And the other discussion point was around the size of those particular signs that we're talking about. I think the feedback we got was to make those signs even smaller, which they're going to be they won't be as visible. They'll be hard to read for the customers. So I think that was the other thing we wanted to discuss this evening is the actual sizing of them.
So maybe even if you did shrink the size of the sign down, like the total blue area or the total gray area of the sign, and just use the letters themselves as a contrast against the background of the building, that sign would not go over the allowable square inches or square footage. Okay, you follow what I'm saying? And that would even contrast more if you maybe use blue letters on white background and
This is the.
or gray letters on back.
I think the issue is the number of signs, not so much the square footage. I don't think there's any issue on the square footage total up there.
Well, they were able to, as I recall, weren't they able to like lower the square footage based on the number of signs?
Yes, but the biggest issue seemed to be with the number of signs. But yes, you're correct.
So I will say that when Commissioner Blue was working this out publicly at the meeting, clearly footage was identified and as they were trying to figure out, is there a way to get it closer to city compliance? It still wasn't compliant square footage. It's still a little bit over, but P&Z and the city have the latitude to go 25% over. And I think council can probably go further, but P&Z can, I think is the rule. So that was really an exercise in trying to minimize the square footage, reduce redundancy, to get closer to the city ordinances and what the whole intent behind the ordinances. But I will say this, the intent is not to harm businesses either, right? It is a balancing act. And so I hear exactly what you're saying, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
We'll say that we've had several franchises, national businesses come here and want to do exactly the way they have it all over with their model. And we have not let them do that. They've had to conform to our ordinances and their businesses are doing just fine. So just to let you know that this isn't, we're not picking on you or this particular business.
I would
But we
never take
have to
it that
try
way.
the other thing is we need to treat everyone on an equal level. So that's a dilemma as well. So.
Ma'am, we're not a franchise. We are branded. This is a brand. We are just a brand of Chevron. We're not a franchise of Chevron.
Well,
That's
it's
a-
semantics. You're using different semantics, but you just said that this model works all over the country.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's a business. that's all
200
over-
locations so
Okay.
far. That's the data I was giving of the number of locations.
Mhm.
I mean, nationwide.
So
There,
to
it's
that-
I'm sorry, I would just add, it's a sales and licensing agreement that uses our brand image likeness, but the locations are each independently owned, like this gentleman in front of you.
Certainly, and the only thing I can say is, let's say, McDonald's has big, huge, giant arches and big signs. If there was one and they wouldn't be able to, in Helotes, they wouldn't be able to have that signage because our ordinances wouldn't allow that type of signage. Even though McDonald's uses, I'm using that as an example, we don't have McDonald's coming inside Helotes, but even though if one was to apply, they wouldn't be able to have the signage that they use in tens of thousands of different locations because of the ordinance. And so that's the issue I think that is at hand. Let me do
But
this
may-
for,
Can
go
I
ahead.
interject? It is not really that asking to be treated special, okay? It's just, we are just asking that you consider, I mean, I don't see that, I cannot, I'm a physical therapist and I have a master in business and I don't understand I mean, if the ordinance is black and white, why are we having the hearing? I mean, I'm appealing to your intellectual intelligence and trying to see, I mean, if somebody can explain, I mean, I understand the ordinance, but, there's always, the spirit of the law, not the black and white kind of situation here.
Which is exactly why we are here, because
Yes.
if it fits within the exact letter of the law, P and Z can approve it, doesn't need to come here. Because what you're asking for is actually outside the technicality of the law. It's what we're here is to review and have a discussion. I don't even have a vote. Council will vote on it to determine, based upon the conversations, we'll make this decision and then we'll know what that decision will be. But this is just an opportunity to be able to make sure that we're aware of what the nature of the signs are, what the issues are. The issues appear to be centered mostly around the number, but a little bit of the square footage, which reducing to one blue sign and one gray sign does solve a lot of the square footage issue. But then again, the nature of your signs are not really advertising, which is what the point of the sign ordinance is particularly focused on. And it's not visible from the road. So there's certainly reason to vote to allow it. And there's certainly understandable reasons to vote for everything except for those two. We are separated into an A and B. Item number A, I haven't heard any conversation about that, which is really dealing with signs A1 and B1. These would be the ones on the front of the building with the name Chevron and get back to my map here.
What is it? Exit?
B1 is the exit only sign. So you got the front of the building sign facing the road and the back of the building sign saying exit, because those are grouped as item A.
Mr. Mayor, item A is the actual business name. It's the two business name signs.
Listed on your page here. A1 and B1 is on the front of the building.
A. Main post sign at the entrance and identifies the business name, shape change, double V, and
A1 on the map.
Will people be
Right here,
entering?
B1.
I'm trying to figure out where they're entering from. They're not entering from the front. You said here's the front of the building, but where are they entering
They're
from?
entering from Shanefield and making a left into the building, into that parking lot where the building is.
A1 is the Chevron and Express Lube overhang, and B1 is the exit only sign as listed on.
and they'll make.
But these are all those signs.
These are the signs that nobody will see until you pull in here. And then you see the.
N03.
This way. But right now, it's nothing.
Either one, these are two that were approved by
So there
planning
is
and
one.
zoning.
I'm sorry.
The one, I'm sorry, the front.
It just
the
doesn't
front of the
show
building.
Front of the building.
this schematic,
But there's going to be a road there.
right? So it'll go something like this.
Two business name wall signs.
And then there's the entrance in, which is
Scratch that. We're gonna leave B1 here.
this.
The-
So the road will be like,
It could be a lot worse.
Sorry.
it could be a lot worse.
Here's the annotation right here.
There's sign A1.
A1 and
Front of the building is part A.
so don't wanna wait for it to
Side of the
Then this,
building
this is
part
sign
B.
A2, the one
This place.
between those two bays.
cabinet
Sign
right there.
two,
Okay,
right?
we're gonna list that as A1 and A2 for the name signs. This will be the actual Chevron Express Lube signs. All in favor of approving 13A as written, A1 and A2 signs, which will be the Chevron Express Lube signs. All in approval of that, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So those carry. B will be the 6 service bay wall signs, which will be,
Hold on.
and
1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4 service bay signs.
yes, and now,
And then the little one, the attendant, and then the exit.
correct,
Those are the
Correct.
6 we're talking about, right?
Yes.
correct.
Right, you have the.
Which would be B2, B3, B4, B5,
Got it.
B6, and on the front, B1. P and Z approved everything except for one of the B2 or B3 and one of the B4 and B5.
Correct.
So Frank, procedurally, if we're voting as it's been submitted, are we voting as it's been submitted by them or what was approved by P and Z?
What you have before you is what's been approved by P and Z. You can either approve a P and Z or go back to what was the original application.
So is there any friendly amendment to change what has been approved by P and Z?
Based on the way that this building is laid out and in the name of this man's service attendant safety, I would move that we approve his proposal.
Well, that would have to be made by our original motion, correct?
You have a motion currently pending,
Correct.
correct?
So
So
it had the.
you actually would have to vote on that first before you're able to accept that, because it's not an amendment to the motion because it's contrary to the original motion.
Correct. So we will follow through on the vote of the approval of 4 of the 6. And if you are wanting something different, you can vote nay, and we can explore that option.
What does this say? Mr. Mayor, am I reading this wrong? Because B says 6.
Oh, the 6 service bays. I believe,
signs
Frank, we're gonna have to vote on the way it
Well,
With
presented.
associated sign number variances.
when you look at the memo, you also have the P and Z recommendation. So I guess we have to go back to the original motion, person who made the motion as to the intent was the original 6 or the P and Z
Their
recommendation.
recommendation was all of these signs are good except for one of these and one of these into place.
So how many though? I'm talking about how many?
1, 2,
They just want 4
3,
signs.
4.
They were,
P&Z
they
approved
just
these
want
approved.
4.
P and Z recommended 4 of 6. The
Recommended.
applicant requested 6. So we have to go back to who made the original motion as to what was their intent.
Motion says 6.
That'd be merchants. It says your motion was to approve.
We're not-
it says it.
Yeah, you're right. Well.
So let's vote on the 6 as it's written.
Okay,
If the 6 doesn't pass, then we can entertain a amendment.
to go with P and Z, correct?
Correct.
Or anything else?
So let's vote on what is submitted. This would be the
Are you
approval
clear
of
what we're
all,
voting on?
We're voting on what he presented and what he wants,
all
correct?
6 signs.
Yes.
That's what we're voting
Both
on.
oil change
Okay,
signs, both
Good.
auto repair.
Okay.
Clear what we're voting on. All in favor of approving item number 13B as written, which will include all 6 service bay walls, which will include the 2 oil change, the 2 auto repair, the exit, and the attendant sign. Approval of all 6, say aye.
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 Nay.
Okay, hold on. The ayes were 1, 2, 3, and Craig, did I hear you?
Yep.
For all 6. Okay, all opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries.
You got your signs.
4-1. You got your sign.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Get what you can, sir.
Or they-
Yeah.
Good night.
It's getting kind of hectic, as they say. All right, sorry for the confusion in the writing there on the agenda item. At this time, we're looking for a motion, a second to discuss, take action on item number 14 is written.
Mr. Mayor, I move we discuss and take action on agenda item number 14.
Motion by Sanders, second by
I'll second that.
Massey. Sir,
So I think what I would like is, because I got quite a few questions. Who's the designated speaker for the lawn care proposal for, can we bring them up to actually?
Mr.
answer
Fite.
questions?
yeah, Mr. Fight, you want to come up and answer any questions?
This has been.
So I guess my questions, I did some homework on the landscaping and I know the history and everything. And it's all in the background stuff.
Awesome.
So as I was actually out at your facility, I noticed, okay, so the original plan, because I don't think most of us weren't on council when this whole development had gone through the process. So a lot of this is relearning for some of us, right? So I know there were some changes to the water,
Backflow preventer.
as you come into the property, right?
Correct.
So that originally that was going to be some trees and some landscaping, correct?
Correct.
And so, and I see why you can't do that now,
Right.
right?
So
Because of the cement.
So there was 2 areas, both of them at the entrance. So you have the backflow preventer, which you're referring to, which in this picture right here shows it on the top left up here. So if you look at building A, can you scroll down just a little bit? Okay, right there. In the back left corner of that building A right there is where the original backflow preventers were supposed to be going. But because of the fire riser room and the fire sprinkler systems, saws came in and nixed that. So they.
So you had to move it to the front.
Well, originally, the original plan was they were going to be moving it to a parking spot, but then when it got submitted, it got kicked back because we were going to be one parking spot short. So it added another detail to it. So they went ahead and put it in that flower bed. So now I will have an area to put a tree, basically. The other portion of that is, see where the orange stripes are on the bottom left corner?
Yeah.
That was originally, the original planning down the center of that entire driveway had 7 108-inch pipes, basically just sanitary storm systems going all the way to the highway. They were supposed to be dumping out into 4 leach lines, one under the building. Well, I believe when the city engineer took a look at it, he said it's going to cost settling. So they nixed that and they ran 4 additional 12-inch pipes emptying to that back corner. DOT stepped in and said that's fine, but it has to have a retention pond. So by giving up the 4 retention pond, you lost the other island. So now we don't have places for those.
So if I understand, you just want to do like a flower bed where it's green?
Correct.
But you can't do it on the other side because it looks like you've got rebar there, like you're going to do
Well,
a
the
monument sign.
monument sign was supposed to be originally where the retention pond is at, but since it's not there, we had to move it to the other side. So when they moved it to the other side, it ate up that spot. So we can put shrubs around it.
Because I think you have to if it's a monument sign, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So is there water there though, sprinkler system to actually
We are,
keep this stuff
actually,
alive?
there's no sprinkler through the entire property. So we are having to run that. So that's going to be
Goodness.
phase 1 of this. So it actually comes out on the top, right in the center of the property where the trees are lined up against Bandera. It comes out there, stubs out. We're actually going to trench completely around the entire property, through into the courtyard, around the entire property line to catch all these other islands over here on this side.
So you are going to do that?
Yes,
Okay. Yeah, with this weather, if you
Yeah, I
can't
mean-
water, it's going to be dead.
exactly. Especially in you, planning.
So I guess I only talk about the ones in color. So I think the light pink, the darker pink color, that's all going to be crepe myrtles.
Those are going to be crepe myrtles, correct?
So which crepe myrtles are you referring to? Because I know there's it's kind of broken into 3 different size groups. There's like small, medium, large.
Yep.
Large can get up to, I forget, what, 25 feet?
25 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is that they're all gonna equal 3-inch caliper, but they will be the mediums.
Yeah.
Right, so,
Yeah, okay. Medium. And then the purple, the red buds, those are really pretty trees.
Yeah.
In the springtime.
yep. So those where the purple is at, those are originally gonna be the oak trees, but because of, there's already the big oak tree in the patio right there where the big circle.
Which
is
I
at.
didn't expect to see it there today. When
Yeah,
I was over
it was there.
Oh, it was already an oak tree.
Yeah, and there'll be a big deck around that as well too, and then obviously other landscaping, so we're gonna change those to red buds instead of oaks, so they're actually a prettier tree.
Was your intent always to kind of shade that area? Because that's supposed to be an outdoor
In the-
vibe thing.
In the original plans, it was not, but because of what we've seen this summer and since I came on board, back in July, taking over this project, we started looking at it more of, especially with meadows going in, that people sit out there, it's 120 degrees out there in the summertime. So by putting up sails, there will actually be, we're looking at a design of 4 or 6 of them in triangles at different angles to give it the shading it needs.
And my last question, I know those 2 are, the blue and the yellow. So all those little island spots where everyone's parking up to UP Mills, that side.
Huh?
So those little places that come out, they're still going to have some kind of oak tree, but they're going to be lacy oaks.
Correct. There'll be lacy oaks and they will have sprinkler.
So lacy oaks get up to 40 feet. Is that right? Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all I got.
Any other questions?
Okay, Councilmember Massey.
No, I think that, you're working, with a disadvantage and so you're doing the best you can with what you got.
Exactly.
And I do like your proposed trees. Who doesn't like a crepe myrtle? They're so pretty.
Exactly, especially in this heat.
And I do like the idea that you're going to put the sails up in the plaza area. Because you're right, this summer, if this is an indication of what it's going to start being like in the summers. It's
hot.
brutal. It's very brutal.
Very hot.
So I don't have any objection to the changes that need to be made because they need to be made. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing worse than roots getting into your infrastructure and your pipes and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's how I feel about it.
Come this way, sir.
Man, you stepped into it, this project.
It was a big
This
undertaking
one's
for sure.
been going on for years and the gentleman who plan you got going here and I mean, it is what it is. So I
Appreciate
hope
it.
it turns out as well as it looks.
It's gonna be beautiful when it's done, so we just gotta get there.
No issues. I think they've done quite well to overcome the challenges they faced and they have a good plan in place.
Appreciate it.
I would agree with everything that's been said. I think one of the hardest things for a contractor or a vendor is to come in and deal with a set of circumstances that you maybe wouldn't have started with. And so I just thank you for helping Mr. Goodson. He's a wonderful man and a great part of our community, and I'm supportive in whatever can help him along in this project.
Thank you.
All right. No further discussion. All in favor of approving item number 14 is written, say aye.
Bye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much and congratulations. On to 15, I'll look for motion in a second to discuss and take action on item number 15 as written.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we discuss and take action on item 15 as written.
Motion by Massey, second by
I'll second.
Merchant. Councilmember.
So I just wanted to ask, when was the last time we raised the hourly rates for this company?
In 2015.
Oh, so that was a while back.
Yes.
Okay, because I noticed that the proposed hourly rate is quite a bit larger. You know, I mean, it seems quite large. Going from like 164 to 225 hourly rate seems significant to me. So that's why I wanted to know, so that if it was 2015, that's 8 years ago. So they've never asked for
They have not. no, no.
a raise in the hourly rate. And we do know how things have gotten up. I guess I just would like to talk to my council members about their thoughts about how much more that they want, because that's what we're going to be approving, this new rate.
Well, since you're asking, I'm looking at Exhibit A, which has their currently, what we pay them now, what they're asking us to pay, and what their standard rates are. So they're still not even getting what they would get from an individual project.
Yeah,
This is our city rate.
Correct.
So, I mean, I still think it's a bargain. It is more, and it's significantly more, but it's still less than what they would get otherwise. That's where I'm thinking about this.
It's one thing to realize that also in this, we are not paying for full-time employee.
Right.
So we are subcontracting out, and so we are not paying this 40 hours a week. This is as needed PRN. So it's not. Right. Also, we have to take a
And we
look at
don't-
that and what is the going rates. They're well.
We don't use them all at the same time.
No, no.
We just get one or two guys working
needed.
on something.
And
I see.
and also what we did last fiscal year is we changed our fee schedule so that sometimes if a developer needs to utilize them, it's,
passes through.
yes, it's a pass on fee.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay.
That's it.
two.
No issues.
I just say, I have a close friend who lives here in Helotes, family friend, and he is CEO of an engineering firm here in San Antonio. And at different points, I've asked him questions on agenda items, and he knows this engineering firm and speaks very highly of them and says they are, you know, a great firm and a great group of people. So having said that, I know it's painful, such a huge rate hike, but I do know in their world or their industry here in San Antonio, they're very well respected.
My question is, they added 5 new categories to this list. Are those 5 categories that we're driving them to add to the list that we've used and we need or require, or is that just a laundry list?
It's a laundry list that's listed on there. Like the GIS now, analysis and so forth. Now, we did utilize it. We've utilized part of the analyst at times, but not fully. And I think it's only been one or twice that we've had to utilize it. So some of it is driven by us utilizing it, and some of it's driven because it's a laundry list.
Do you have a rough guesstimate of how often we use these folks?
On the ones that, on the new ones?
Well, in general. how
Oh,
often
in
are
general, when you're looking at a TIA, they review our TIAs, they review our roads, and they review our stormwater.
Okay,
so
so we do use. them.
Yes, we do.
Okay, I was just trying to get a feel. for it.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
That's everybody. No further discussion. All in favor of approving item number 15 is written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. And for a motion and a second to discuss and take action on item number 16 as written.
Mr. Mayor, I move we discuss, take action on agenda item number 16 as written.
Motion by Sanders, second by
I'll second.
Sir.
Pull this up. I had a question for staff. So going to the same type of table that they had on the last agenda item, if you go down to the bottom, current rate to proposed rate. Let's see if I have BB inspections. Yeah, I don't see any real issues. My one question I had, because they haven't updated their rate since like 2015 as well.
Correct.
So the last item, commercial plan reviews, their current rate was $45. Is that a flat fee?
Yes.
It was.
And now they've changed it to commercial plan review, $95 per hour.
This is something that we are taking a look
concern.
at. So when they have a commercial plan that is coming in, has to be reviewed. Some of them, if you take a look at some of the plans, you are carrying a roll of what, 300 pages. So you have 300 pages of, plans to look through. $45 doesn't cut it.
No.
So that's just an antiquated way of looking at, so you've seen some plans that we've looked at that were not much more than hand drawn on a napkin.
Stick figures.
Okay, $45, 300 pages of detailed plans, $45 was not appropriate. So, and these fees get charged through. It's not fees that we're paying. So there's
Pass through to the.
Yeah, some of them
to the
are passed.
developer, right? So it really didn't seem fair that the city of Helotes was picking up all the cost of, 100 hours of a guy pouring over plans for a flat rate of $45. And in that, re-inspections actually were decreased. The vast majority of the work that he does for us, we do a lot of, for example, the pool permit has some plumbing, electrical in there, et cetera, or the remodels or new construction. There are inspections all the way around.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
And they're also comparable to other cities. They work with a lot of other cities.
But
I've
this is-
contacted out, and this is what
comparable?
they're charging. This is what this is what this company is charging those cities.
I just always worry about always passing stuff on to developers and potential future businesses. So if it's kind of the norm, if it's kind of the way other municipalities are doing this, then fine. Sometimes you don't want to be the lone wolf doing something unique. So if this is in the norm, if this is a fair price and it makes sense to pass through to the developer, then okay, I'm good with that.
No comment.
I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, no further discussion. All in favor of approving item number 16 is written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. At this point, we're gonna have an update and discussion on the proposed fiscal year 2024 municipal fee schedule. There's a couple items we wanted to bring before you. Marion had discussed several of our adjustments previously when we did. We want to bring two new ones to you. Marion, you want to?
Yeah, so we have looked at our deck fee. I'm trying to get to that attachment, sorry.
So I have two, one on.
Yeah.
So bottom line, we had a fee that encompassed decks and patios and enclosures. And we're taking a look as singling out the deck as permit fee instead of being 400, excuse me, yeah, permit fee. Which would cover the inspection on that. It was listed at $425,
$425
which is a lot for a deck. We're looking at reducing that to
debt to $100, sorry.
$100 flat.
$100 and bringing that out separately. You know what I mean? Because it's
got
not,
grouped.
it's
Where
not
is it
comparable.
on here? I really need to see it. I can't find it.
It is in the green writing. It is on page,
6 letter N.
Page 6.
It's hard to find it. I had to go through a couple of times.
Okay, 1, 2.
So it's on page 10.
Yes, page
6.
6.
It doesn't have page numbers. It has
And the bottom
Does-
corner right above the share button says page 6, and then you look at item number excuse me.
It's like
So
math.
currently listed is patio cover, carport cover, flat work and deck permit. Was $425.
Oh,
We're
so
still leaving patio covers and carpet and the flat work at that amount because of the amount of work and the inspections, et cetera, especially if there's concrete work, whatnot. But in the deck, when you're building a deck, they're really inspecting the attachment to the house. It's a very short and minimal time.
So 100 is the fee?
Correct. We're looking at
Correct. It's
reducing the
100
fee
and-
from 425 to 100.
But if there's electrical attached to it, then they have to pull an electrical permit. It's not a flat 100. You know, that's just if they're just doing a deck without electrical or plumbing.
And the idea here was just, it's, to make it similar, like when you're going out inspecting a fence. Well, okay, the fence there, the posts are there, so a similar amount of inspection
that.
work. So there's no need to really stick it
I
to
had
someone
trouble
who's
too.
And
just building a deck or replacing their deck.
so I like that we're doing that. And I said this at the last time when we first just discussed this, is that, we made a conscious effort here over the last couple of years to make these fees reasonable and in line with the way other communities are charging, and we're not trying to gouge anybody. And I think just about everybody has a deck of some sort, or most homes do. And yeah, so I like that approach.
Okay, and that is just what it is, filtering through, we did a lot of work to reduce fees, we're on nickel and dime people, and we certainly don't want to 10 and 20 them for something that is actually just a nickel and dime item. And that's where this was, we found it, came to my attention, so here we are.
It's in green. That's how come I couldn't find it. Green on blue.
That is Sanders who opened this up. This was just a discussion. So any other questions on this? This will be voted on in our overall,
Voted on correct and not when we do next
next
council
meeting.
meeting during the budget.
Yeah.
Well, and I have to say, I'm very much for lowering any fees that we can for our citizens. And you're right, that this, to have a deck at 425 to go.
That's
check that,
crazy.
usually that's how much a deck costs to build, I mean,
And we actually lowered it 3-4 years ago from, it used to be part of our building permits. And so sometimes depending on the square footage could have cost $1,200 for an
Yeah,
inspection and something,
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Although my friend's deck is nearly 90,000 just for the deck. And I've seen several 40,000 decks. Yeah. We did it really cheap and got it away 15 years ago for 20,000. So it is expensive,
No, I
but
know,
the
I know.
inspection view is really, are the posts there, are they attached to the house, right? Is it 36 inches, 42 inches on there? See, I'm on it.
Is the handrail?
Exactly. It took them about 7 minutes to inspect my deck. So there's really no need for $425, right? So, all right, and that's just a discussion item. Anybody have any other pertinent discussion on that? Okay, at this point, we're going to adjourn into closed session in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.071 consultations with the attorney. We will be discussing section 551.071 consultations with the attorney, discuss terms and options related to solid waste and recycling services contract between the city and BFI Waste Services of Texas, referred to as Republic. And also 551.071 consultations with attorney to discuss terms, options, and legal requirements to provide health benefits coverage. No decisions will be made, but we'll be adjourning into closed session and we'll return shortly. The time is now 8 o'clock. Okay, all right, we good? We are back from executive session. Time is 8:38. No decisions were made. At this point, we'll open up item number 19, update of and discussion on proposed fiscal year 2024 municipal operating budget. Some things that we are taking a look at with particular attention to healthcare and the increased costs that we are experiencing. This past year, we offered assistance with dependent care on insurance policies. Gave them $100 per month to help offset the cost and the increased cost of dependent care. It is my suggestion that we go ahead and consider continuing that program, but this year, due to some of the extreme costs that we're experiencing, we look at increasing that from $100 to $200 per month to help offset some of the increased cost. This would be an item that would carry forth to the budget to be voted on. Additionally, we want to be sensitive to employees that have families and are taking a look, because the family premium increase is fairly significant. We are required to provide health care for our employees, but our employees are not required to get their insurance from us. They do have the ability to be able to seek insurance elsewhere. We're working with our broker to make sure that they bring, we do currently have pricing available, and that is something we can bring to the meetings, the Blue Cross Blue Shield pricing, of which our broker can write. And we'll have an outside insurance agent coming to the sign up next, which will be Monday and Wednesday of next week, to be able to provide quotes for utilizing an outside insurance company. If they do decide to use an outside insurance company for their family, I would like to have us take a look at providing $300 a month to that employee and their family to help offset their costs from an outside insurance provider. I do not know that rates will be cheaper for everybody or anybody that takes a look at that. I think primarily the people that are currently on single policies will find that their rates are very compatible, but by the time you look at the family, depending on the number of children, and again, if they have a lot of children, it's still going to be cheaper to be here with the family, but we want to give our employees every opportunity to be able to save where savings are available to be had. And if we can contribute to that, I think that would be a fair thing to make available. What we're looking for here right now is any discussion, because we're not voting on this. This would be part of our overall budget that gets passed. But in order for employees to make decisions and for be able to take a look at that, we need to find out and just kind of discuss, is there anybody that opposes either one of those concepts? And we'll open up for discussion. Okay.
No, I don't at all. It's unfortunate that the health costs have gone up so much, and that it's going to hit our staff and our employees. And so I think that increasing to 200 per month for each is a good idea. And I do like the $300 for someone who seeks insurance elsewhere. Yeah, like I said, it's just really unfortunate, but this is just the way it is. We have a lot of high premiums, and we want to help our employees. So I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Matt? No, this is a good idea. And our employees deserve the best that we can offer. They work hard for us. So I support this.
Maybe I'm a little confused. Are we saying the $300, is that for employees that are both have healthcare within?
No, it's if
It's just if you go outside.
if let's say you have an employee and they have their spouse and their family, and the premiums are going to be, I think it turned out to be like $1,300
It
per
was
month.
like 1,000. One of them was 1,000.
Yeah, well, the total there, so that's an extra 500 over less. So it's $1,300 per month. But if they can get them, their family and themselves, and get it for $1,500 a month, and we can contribute 300 to them because they're no longer under our policy. They would be getting insurance for the employee. So the employee would be coming off our books. We'd be providing them a stipend. Now, the problem is with stipend is that ends up being a taxable income. So that needs to be made clear because it's not going to direct pay to insurance
Right.
policy, because if we did that, then that would be a separate group and we can't have a separate group policy. So we're hamstrung a little bit by healthcare and CPA laws where those converge. And again, I'm not sure that would actually help anybody, but in the case that it does, and a particular employee wants to make a decision to explore that, that's why I'm proposing that, so we can at least help them in that manner if it is beneficial.
But the 200 is not taxable.
Correct.
200 would not be taxable. It would be a direct cost offset because that would be paid directly to our current insurance policy and would be untaxable and help directly decrease dollar for dollar off the employee's cost. Jen?
I'm just supportive of any way we can help our employees, but also give them flexibility with choice is really important in healthcare as a deeply personal decision and very individual. So I'm in support of this idea.
Okay. Craig?
So if we do the 200, so what that push, so the city's end of that will be somewhere around almost $900,000, $1 million.
Well,
Is that what the city will be contributing?
in total will be about right close to,
Yes.
we'll be at
900,000.
56 plus 36, right about 890 some $1,000 that we'll be paying for
900K.
employee health care.
Yeah, I agree with Councilwoman Sons. Anything we can do to make things better, we need to do it. So this sounds reasonable.
All right. Then direction is hereby given to staff to put that together for proper presentation, and doesn't appear to be any objection to it, so we can proceed with letting employees know.
Those changes for adoption.
Okay,
Okay.
no vote is needed. No other items on the agenda. So at this point, we will adjourn. The time is 8:45 PM. Thank you for your patience.